The night was silent, except for the faint hum of electricity coursing through the walls. In the darkness, Ethan said, "Why does it feel like the air is watching me?" His chest tightened, and he reached for the lamp that refused to switch on. The phone on the dresser vibrated, buzzing like an insect against glass, pulling Ethan closer despite his dread. He picked it up, the screen flickering, showing an unknown number glowing in cold white. A voicemail began to play, a trembling voice whispering, "They know where you are." The words crackled, cutting in and out before dissolving into sharp static. Ethan's heart hammered in his chest as sweat dampened his palms. Suddenly, a piercing scream echoed through the night, seeming both inside and outside his walls. Ethan said, "Who's there?" His voice trembled, but no one replied. He stumbled toward the window, staring into the empty street. The shadows of the neighborhood seemed stretched too far, like they were bending toward him. A street lamp flickered violently, buzzing before going dark, swallowing the road in pitch black. Ethan whispered, "This isn't real." When silence returned, he turned back toward his room, but his foot brushed something small and solid on the floor. He bent down, his breath shallow, eyes wide. There lay an object not belonging to this world. It was a polished, blackened stone, etched with unreadable glowing symbols that shifted like water. The markings pulsed faintly, lighting the air in ghostly hues. Ethan said, "What the hell is this?" The stone burned cold in his hand, chilling his skin with a crawling numbness. The symbols twisted, rearranging themselves as if aware of being seen. He felt both dread and compulsion tightening inside him. A faint whisper coiled around his ears, not from the phone, not from the night, but from the stone itself. The words were low, impossible to understand, but his bones shivered as if they carried meaning. Ethan's breath grew shallow, his surroundings warping slightly, as though the room tilted into a dream. The voicemail, the scream, the stone, they converged into one truth. His nightmare had just begun. The night weighed heavily as Ethan tried to shake off what he saw. He whispered, "It's just a dream," though the stone still pulsed in his palm. The silence pressed against his eardrums until every creak in the house felt like a threat. He placed the stone on his nightstand, but its glow seeped through the wood like veins of light. The whispers grew louder, not words but vibrations that set his teeth on edge. He covered his ears, but the sound crawled into his skull. The room felt colder, his breath turning visible in the dark. He stumbled back, knocking over a glass of water, shards scattering across the floor. Each shard reflected the shifting glow like fractured symbols mocking him. Ethan said, "Stop this, please." His voice cracked as the lights above flickered once, then steadied. But the unease in his chest only deepened. His heart raced, his body betraying him with trembling hands. Outside, the scream came again, farther away this time, but still sharp enough to freeze his spine. He wanted to call someone, anyone, but the phone was dead, its screen blank and unresponsive. The silence fractured when Ethan heard soft footsteps above him. His house had no upstairs. His breath caught as he tilted his head, eyes darting to the ceiling. The boards groaned with slow, deliberate weight. He whispered, "Someone's here." The thought clawed into his mind. Each creak grew louder, circling, pressing closer. He backed toward the door, his hands clammy, unsure if fleeing or freezing would save him. The whispers from the stone rose, intertwining with the phantom footsteps. He swore he heard his own name woven in the sound. He said, "No, that's impossible," though his chest pounded in denial. He turned the knob with shaking hands, pulling the door open to a hallway that seemed too long, stretching beyond normal walls. Shadows flickered like they had lives of their own. The air smelled of damp soil and smoke, wrong for his suburban home. Ethan whispered, "This isn't my house anymore," his voice dissolving in dread. The hallway shifted with each step Ethan took. The wallpaper peeled itself into curling shapes, forming strange faces that stared at him. He stopped breathing for a moment, gripping the stone so tightly his knuckles ached. He whispered, "Stay calm," though his throat was dry and raw. The faces on the walls seemed to whisper back, their mouths opening soundlessly, mocking his fear. His legs felt heavy, as if the floor clung to his steps. The hallway narrowed ahead until it ended in a single door, blackened and wet as if it bled tar. His stomach turned, but he felt drawn forward, every muscle straining against his own will. The stone pulsed violently, heat and cold colliding in his palm. Ethan said, "What do you want from me?" though he knew no answer would come. The silence screamed louder than any sound. When he reached the door, his reflection appeared on its surface, distorted, stretched into something unrecognizable. His own face grinned back at him with eyes too dark. Ethan's trembling hand reached for the door. His fingers brushed the slick surface, and the tar-like texture clung to his skin. He recoiled, whispering, "No, this isn't real." The reflection grinned wider, lips splitting unnaturally. The stone vibrated violently, almost humming. Ethan gasped, dropping it, but it rolled back toward the door, as if pulled by something unseen. He tried to back away, but his legs felt rooted to the ground. The door groaned open without his touch, darkness spilling into the hallway like smoke. A rush of cold air swept through, extinguishing every flicker of light behind him. From within the blackness came a voice not human, layered and broken, whispering his name again and again. Ethan's chest seized, his body frozen between terror and compulsion. The hallway dissolved into the void, swallowing everything until only Ethan and the door remained. He screamed, "Wake up!" but nothing changed. The nightmare had no intention of ending. Ethan staggered backward from the black doorway, his breath ragged, eyes wide with horror. He said, "This cannot be real," yet the cold draft pressing against his skin convinced him otherwise. The hallway dissolved into gray mist. He blinked hard, and suddenly his bedroom returned, as if nothing had shifted. The stone lay quietly on the nightstand, glowing faintly like a dormant ember. He whispered, "Was it all in my head?" His hands shook violently. The silence lingered too perfectly, like a trap. His phone buzzed again, its screen alive with another voicemail notification. Ethan dared not touch it, but the flashing light beckoned him relentlessly. His chest heaved, and his reflection in the mirror caught his gaze. He stepped closer, staring at his own exhausted face. But then the reflection blinked twice when he had not blinked once. Ethan's knees nearly buckled. He said, "That's not me." The reflection smirked faintly, then straightened into a blank stare, as if waiting. His skin prickled with dread, sweat rolling down his temple. The room felt less like home, and more like a stage, every object placed to watch him. He backed away, whispering, "Somebody help me," though no voice answered. Only the faint hiss of the stone. The buzzing phone drew Ethan back. With trembling fingers he picked it up and pressed play. The voicemail hissed before a childlike voice whispered, "Don't look behind you." His breath hitched, and he froze. The silence grew unbearably heavy. He forced himself to turn, heart pounding. The room behind him was empty, but the stone pulsed brighter, almost alive. He muttered, "Why are you doing this to me?" The stone's whispers grew into a chorus, echoing faintly with tones of voices he recognized. His mother's, his father's, his childhood friends, blended into one endless murmur. He stumbled back, shaking his head violently. His chest burned as if the voices tried to crawl into his lungs. He said, "Stop," throwing the phone onto the bed. It flickered with static, glowing with distorted images of his face screaming silently. The air carried the faint smell of smoke, though nothing burned. The walls creaked, expanding like lungs. Ethan collapsed against the doorframe, covering his ears. His body trembled uncontrollably. The whispers stopped as suddenly as they began, leaving Ethan trembling in silence. His phone flickered one last time, then went black. The stone dimmed slightly, humming like a sleeping heart. He whispered, "I can't keep this here." He grabbed a backpack and shoved the stone inside, zipping it tight, though its glow bled faintly through the fabric. He said, "If I leave, maybe it ends." But deep down, he knew it would follow. Stepping into the hallway, he felt the air press against him, heavy with unease. The front door creaked as he pushed it open, the suburban night stretching endless before him. The street was deserted, yet every shadow looked too sharp, as though watching. Ethan whispered, one step at a time, forcing himself forward, legs weak. His sneakers scraped the pavement too loudly. Behind him, the door slammed shut without his touch. He spun around, eyes wide, but no one was there. His chest pounded with dread, as he realized escape was already impossible. Ethan walked slowly down the street, every sound magnified. A dog barked far away, but the echo lingered too long, unnatural. He said, "Keep moving," whispering as if to steady his heartbeat. His footsteps echoed back at him, but there was no delay. It sounded like another pair of feet walking just a breath behind him. He froze, turning sharply, but the street lay empty. The backpack felt heavier, as though the stone inside was dragging him down. His shoulders ached, sweat dampening his shirt. He said, "You're not real," though the glow faintly seeped from the zipper. The corner street lamp buzzed above him, sparks dropping faintly, illuminating the cracked sidewalk. He glanced upward, and for a moment, a shadow darted across the bulb, something long, twisting, inhuman. He stumbled back, shaking. The air grew colder, his breath fogging. He pressed against a brick wall, whispering, "Please, let this end." But the silence mocked him, deafening and absolute. The night thickened as Ethan neared an intersection. The houses around him seemed abandoned, windows dark, curtains fluttering as though someone watched. He whispered, "I need to find help," though no house welcomed him. A faint figure appeared under the far street lamp, motionless, cloaked in shadow. Ethan froze, whispering, "Who are you?" His voice cracked. The figure did not move, but he felt its gaze burn through him. His throat tightened, sweat dripping into his eyes. He took one cautious step forward, then another. The figure slowly tilted its head, impossibly slow, like a puppet moved by broken strings. The stone inside his bag pulsed violently, syncing with his heartbeat. He whispered, "Stay back," though the figure had not advanced. Instead, it raised one hand and pointed directly at him. Ethan's knees weakened. He staggered backward, whispering, "This isn't real, this isn't real." But deep in his gut, he knew reality was long gone. Ethan stood frozen at the intersection, the figure still pointing at him. His breath came in shallow bursts, his throat dry. He whispered, "What do you want from me?" But the figure remained silent, still as stone. The street lamp above sputtered and buzzed, showering sparks across the cracked pavement. When Ethan blinked, the figure was gone. His stomach lurched, his knees nearly giving way. He gasped, "No, no, it can't just vanish." The silence pressed down heavier than the night itself. He turned sharply, scanning every shadow. His heart slammed against his ribs, ready to burst. His backpack pulsed with the glow of the stone, its light escaping through the seams. Ethan clutched the straps tighter. He muttered, "Keep moving, or it wins." His shoes scraped against the concrete as he forced himself forward. Every sound echoed back, mocking him. From behind, a whisper curled through the air, faint but undeniable. It spoke his name. Ethan stiffened, his body trembling. He said, "Stay away from me," though he had no idea who or what he addressed. Ethan quickened his pace, his shoes thudding against the sidewalk. The world felt wrong, every house along the street appearing abandoned. Curtains shifted in dark windows, though no figures stood inside. He whispered, "Someone must be here." He approached one house with a dim porch light still glowing. He muttered, "Please," and climbed the creaking steps. His knuckles rapped against the door, each knock echoing too loudly in the dead street. A shadow moved inside. Relief filled him briefly, but the door opened only an inch, revealing a man's face half hidden in gloom. The man said, "You shouldn't be here." His voice was rough, urgent and uneasy. Ethan stammered, "Please. I need help," his voice breaking. The man's eyes darted nervously behind Ethan, as if something stood there. Ethan turned sharply, but the street was empty again. When he turned back, the door had shut. Torchlight flickered, then burned out, leaving Ethan in smothering darkness. His throat tightened with panic, his hands trembling at his sides. Ethan backed down the porch steps, his legs shaking. He whispered, "Why won't anyone help me?" The night seemed to lean closer, pressing against his skin. His ears rang with a faint, continuous hum. Though inside his bag flared suddenly, its glow seeping out like fire through cracks. He grabbed the zipper, trying to hold it shut, whispering, "Not now, not here." His voice broke as the hum grew louder. A car at the end of the street started by itself, headlights flickering on, engine roaring. The driver's seat was empty. Ethan froze, his body stiff with terror. He whispered, "This is impossible," as the car began rolling forward. The vehicle's headlights cut across him, blinding white beams. He stumbled backward, shielding his eyes. Tires screeched against the asphalt, the sound tearing through the silence like claws. Ethan screamed, "Stop!" His voice cracked in desperation, but the car did not stop. The headlights bore down, filling his vision, swallowing everything in burning light. At the last instant, the car vanished into smoke, leaving Ethan staggering alone on the road. His breath came in ragged gasps, his heart hammering painfully. He muttered, "It's not real, it's not real," but the fear gnawed deeper. He dropped to his knees, clutching the backpack against his chest. The stone vibrated violently inside, its whispers clear now. He heard his own voice echoing back, "You cannot run forever." His body trembled. The asphalt beneath him rippled like water, distorting beneath his palms. He yanked his hands away in horror, scrambling back. The entire street shivered as if alive. A sudden gust of wind whipped past, carrying with it fragments of laughter, shrill and broken. He covered his ears, rocking in place, whispering, "Leave me alone," as tears welled in his eyes. When the wind settled, he opened his eyes to see the street split open ahead, a jagged crack leading into endless black. He whispered, "This is the end," though he dared not move closer. The crack widened with a groan, splitting across the street. From within rose a hand, pale and bony, clawing toward the surface. Ethan stumbled back, eyes wide in terror. He whispered, "No, not real, not real." The hand gripped the pavement, dragging up a figure cloaked in shadows. Its face was obscured, but its mouth stretched unnaturally wide, grinning. Ethan's legs quaked, his body refusing to move. The figure pointed at his chest, its long finger trembling. A hollow voice echoed, "You cannot escape." Ethan shook his head violently, whispering, "Stay away." His words fell useless in the air. The stone inside the backpack flared with blinding light, glowing through the fabric. The figure recoiled briefly, its grin twitching into a snarl. Ethan's hands burned as he clutched the bag tighter. The crack sealed suddenly, the figure vanishing into silence. Ethan dropped to his knees, gasping, whispering, "Why me?" His tears streaked down his face as the night closed in tighter than before. Ethan staggered forward, clutching his backpack tightly. His throat burned with every breath. Suddenly, he saw a faint glow ahead. He whispered, "Finally, someone's here." His voice cracked from exhaustion. A figure emerged under the flickering streetlight. It was Laura, his childhood friend, her presence impossibly familiar. Ethan said, "Laura, you're alive?" His voice filled with desperate hope. Laura stepped closer, her face calm but unreadable. She said, "You shouldn't have picked it up, Ethan." Her tone was sharp, almost accusatory. Ethan froze, confusion drowning his fear. His hands trembled on the backpack straps. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, his chest rising in panicked breaths. Laura's eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the stone's light leaking through the fabric. She whispered, It binds to the one who touches it, and you touched it. The words sank into him like knives. His pulse thundered in his ears. Ethan staggered back, whispering, "Laura, please, tell me what's happening." His voice cracked with fear. Laura's lips curved into a small smile that didn't reach her eyes. She said, "You never listen, Ethan. You never did." The air between them thickened, the stone glowing brighter. Ethan clutched the bag tighter, his hands trembling. He said, "This isn't you, Laura. You're not like this." His voice broke. Laura stepped closer, her shadows stretching unnaturally across the pavement. She whispered, "I warned you not to come back here." The word sent ice through Ethan's veins. Ethan gasped, "Back? What are you talking about?" His mind swirled, confusion mixing with dread. Laura tilted her head, her smile widening. She said, "You think this is the first time? Ethan, you've been here before." His knees weakened, the world spinning around him as the truth cracked open like glass. Ethan shook his head violently, whispering, No, this isn't real." His voice trembled with desperation. Laura's expression hardened as she said, "You don't remember because it makes you forget." The stone pulsed violently, glowing through the seams of the backpack. Ethan winced as heat burned his chest. He muttered, "What are you, Laura?" His voice broke. Laura's eyes shimmered unnaturally, glowing faint amber. She said, "I'm the one who told you never to pick it up, and you ignored me. Again." The final word dripped with venom. Ethan stumbled back, shaking his head, whispering, "No, this can't be happening." But Laura's smile twisted into something cruel. She said, "You made your choice the first time." The street around them warped, shadows curling inward, circling like predators. Ethan's breath quickened as he clutched the bag, his body trembling with helpless dread. Ethan fell to his knees, tears streaking his face. He gasped, "Laura, you're my friend. Please, don't do this." His voice cracked with raw desperation. Laura's smile faded into icy contempt. She whispered, "I was your friend once, but now I'm its servant." Her hand pointed toward the backpack. "And you are its prisoner." Ethan's stomach twisted with horror. The stone glowed so bright it burned through the fabric. Ethan yanked the bag open, holding the pulsing object. He shouted, "Then take it." His arms shook violently as he thrust it toward her. Laura didn't move closer. She whispered, "It chose you. It won't let me touch it now. You're bound, Ethan. And it's too late." His heart pounded as the words crushed him. The pavement split faintly beneath his knees, the world shaking as Laura stepped back into the shadows, her expression unreadable once more. The air thickened, heavy as chains. Ethan whispered, "Then what happens to me?" His body trembled violently. Laura's voice softened, but her words cut deep. "It will take everything you are, piece by piece." Ethan shook his head, eyes wide with despair. He gasped, "No, I won't let it." His knuckles whitened as he gripped the stone tighter. The whispers grew louder, twisting into laughter in his ears. Laura stepped into the edge of darkness, her face hidden now. She said, "You'll fight it, you'll lose, and then you'll forget again. That's the way it works." The words echoed like a curse. Ethan screamed, "Why me?" His voice cracked and broke, but Laura gave no answer, only silence. She disappeared fully into the shadows, leaving Ethan trembling alone. The street stretched endlessly before him, the lamp buzzing weakly overhead. Ethan dropped to his knees, tears hitting the pavement as the stone pulsed like a beating heart in his hands. Ethan stumbled through the deserted street, his legs weak, the stone pulsing violently in his grip. He whispered, "I can't carry this anymore." His voice cracked under the weight of despair. The shadows along the houses stretched unnaturally long, curling across the pavement like reaching fingers. Ethan said, "Stay away from me." His trembling voice echoed uselessly against the silence. Ahead, a figure stepped into the dim light. It was Clark, Ethan's cousin. Ethan gasped, "Clark, thank God." his eyes filled with desperate hope. Clark raised his hands slowly. Clark said, "You look like hell, Ethan. What have you done?" His tone carried both pity and judgment. Ethan stammered, "It's this thing, Clark. It won't let me go." His chest heaved. Clark's expression hardened. He said, "You should never have touched it. Do you have any idea what you've brought back with you?" The words pierced Ethan deeper than the night itself. Ethan's voice shook as he said, "Clark, help me, please. I don't know what to do." Clark narrowed his eyes, stepping closer. Clark said, "Help you or stop you?" The words twisted Ethan's stomach. The stone glowed brighter, humming like a living thing. Clark's gaze locked onto it. He said, "That's what it wants, to break you. And it's winning." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Ethan cried out, "Then take it, please take it." He thrust the stone forward, his hands trembling violently. Clark didn't reach for it. His face turned grim. Clark said, "It's bound to you. You carry it, or it consumes you. But maybe, just maybe, I can guide you." Ethan's chest heaved with frantic breaths. He whispered, "Then guide me before it's too late." But in Clark's eyes, Ethan saw something cold, something hidden. The doubt slithered through him like poison. Clark stepped closer, his expression unreadable. He whispered, "Do you even remember what happened last time?" Ethan froze, his breath caught in his throat. He whispered, "Last time?" His mind reeled. Clark nodded slowly, his tone sharp. He said, "This isn't your first run with it. You've carried it before, Ethan, and you failed." Ethan staggered back, whispering, "That's not true." The stone pulsed violently, as if reacting to the words. Ethan's mind swam with flashes of places he didn't remember, blood on his hands, screams echoing, his own face twisted in madness. Clark's eyes glinted with grim satisfaction. He said, "Now you understand. It doesn't just choose, it corrupts. It's already inside you." Ethan screamed, "No!" His voice ripped raw from his throat. The whispers from the stone grew louder, drowning the night, echoing with his own broken voice repeating, again, again, again. His chest burned as he dropped to his knees. Ethan's tears streamed down his face. He gasped, "Clark, if you know all this, why didn't you warn me?" His voice trembled. Clark crouched, staring into his eyes. Clark said, "Because you wouldn't listen. You never listen." Ethan shook violently, whispering, "Please, help me stop it." His voice cracked. Clark's jaw tightened. He said, "I can't stop it, but I can end you before it spreads further." Ethan's chest seized with terror. He whispered, "You'd kill me?" Clark's expression turned grim. Clark said, "If that's the only way to protect what's left, yes." His words cut like steel. The air grew heavy, the stone flaring so bright it illuminated the entire street. Ethan clutched it tighter, sobbing, "I won't let it end like this." His scream echoed through the night. The shadows surged forward, crawling across the ground, swirling violently around both men. Clark backed away, his face twisted with alarm. Ethan fell to the pavement, shaking uncontrollably. The shadows swirled higher, forming grotesque shapes in the air. Ethan screamed, "Get out of me!" His voice cracked as the stone burned against his palms. Clark shouted, "Fight it, Ethan, or it will consume you whole." Ethan's body convulsed, his eyes rolling back as the whispers roared inside his skull. The voices spoke in unison, "You are ours." He clawed at the pavement, nails splitting, tears flooding his face. Clark shouted again, "You're stronger than this." His voice trembled for the first time. Ethan gasped, "Then why does it feel like it's winning?" His chest heaved violently, breath shallow. The stone cracked faintly, releasing a burst of cold light. Ethan screamed, as if his soul tore in half. The shadows twisted tighter, wrapping around his body like chains. Clark took a desperate step forward. He whispered, "Don't let it take you, Ethan." But his eyes betrayed fear, fear that he already knew how this battle would end. Ethan writhed on the pavement, the stone glowing so bright it seared his vision. Clark shouted, "Fight it, Ethan!" His voice cracked with urgency. Ethan screamed, "I can't!" His body arched in agony. The shadows encircled them, stretching like walls. The air buzzed with whispers, thousands of voices calling Ethan's name. His head shook violently as he cried, "Make it stop!" His voice tore through the night. Clark stepped closer, hands shaking. He shouted, "If you give in, it wins. You have to face it." His words echoed desperately. Ethan clutched the stone to his chest, sobbing uncontrollably. The whispers shifted into laughter, mocking and cruel. Ethan gasped, "Why me?" His throat raw, eyes streaming with tears. The shadows surged upward, swirling around like a storm. The ground cracked beneath Ethan's body, glowing veins spreading from the stone. Clark whispered, "It chose you because you're weak." His words cut deep, leaving Ethan gasping in betrayal. Ethan's body lifted inches from the ground, suspended by the stone's energy. His eyes glowed faintly, pupils vanishing into white. Clark shouted, "Don't let it take you!" Ethan screamed, "It's already inside me!" The shadows reached like chains, wrapping around his limbs. He struggled, thrashing violently, the whispers hammering into his skull. He gasped, "Get out of my head!" His voice cracked with raw fury. Clark ran forward, grabbing Ethan's shoulders. He said, "You have to destroy it." His voice quivered, desperation leaking through his anger. Ethan shook his head, whispering, "I don't know how." The stone cracked again, a fracture glowing like lightning across its surface. The air grew heavy, pressing on their chests. Ethan sobbed, "It's breaking me apart." His body shuddered violently. Clark said, "Then break it before it breaks you." Ethan's trembling hands tightened around the stone as the world spun violently around him. The stone's cracks widened, releasing bursts of cold light. Ethan cried out, "It hurts!" His voice echoed, broken. Clark shouted, "End it, Ethan, or it ends you." His jaw clenched with fury. The laughter from the shadows turned into screams, shrill and violent. Ethan's chest heaved as he forced his trembling hands tighter around the stone. He whispered, "If I break it, I break with it." Clark shouted, "Then do it. You've already lost yourself once. Don't lose us all again." His voice shook with fear. Ethan's face twisted in agony as memories flashed across his vision. Blood, screams, Laura's betrayal. The ground quaked beneath them, asphalt splintering apart. Ethan sobbed, "I don't want to die." His voice cracked, fragile and trembling. The stone's glow pulsed violently like a heartbeat. Clark screamed, "Then live by ending it." His words cut through the storm as Ethan raised the stone high with both hands, shaking uncontrollably. Ethan screamed, slamming the stone against the cracked pavement. It shattered into pieces, releasing a blinding surge of light. His body collapsed forward, gasping for breath as shadows shrieked in unison. Clark shielded his eyes, stumbling backward. He shouted, "What did you do?" His voice echoed in shock. Ethan trembled on the ground, whispering, "I ended it. I think." His hands bled from the impact. The light spread across the street, burning the shadows into smoke. The air grew quiet, eerily still. Ethan's chest heaved as he sobbed, "It's over," though doubt filled every word. Clark stared down at him, his face pale. He whispered, "Or it's only beginning." His tone was cold, eyes narrowed. Ethan flinched at the words, fear returning like a blade. The shards of the stone pulsed faintly, each fragment glowing faint blue, humming softly as though still alive. Ethan reached for one shard, but it twitched violently, sliding away as if alive. His eyes widened. He whispered, "It's not dead." His voice trembled. Clark's jaw tightened, his fists clenched. Clark said, "It never dies. It only changes." His words carried a grim finality. Ethan gasped, "Then what happens now?" His body trembled, heart hammering in his chest. The shards pulsed brighter, lifting slowly into the air. Ethan stumbled back, whispering, "No, no, not again." His voice cracked. Clark glared at him, his expression twisted. Clark said, "Now, it chooses again." His tone was sharp, cold. The fragments spun in the air, circling Ethan like predators, whispering in voices only he could hear. Ethan screamed, "Stay away from me!" His voice broke as the shards swirled faster, light searing the night. The storm had not ended. It had only shifted. Ethan staggered as the shards swirled around him like blades of light. He shouted, "Stop this!" His voice cracked, drowned by the hum. Clark shouted back, "It won't stop, Ethan. It never does." His tone was filled with grim certainty. The shards spun faster, carving the air into glowing trails. Ethan fell to his knees, clutching his head, whispering, "Please, not again." His body trembled with exhaustion, chest heaving violently. Clark stepped closer, face cold. He whispered, "You were chosen because you break, and every time you break again." Ethan shook his head violently, screaming, "No!" His voice tore the silence. The fragments pulsed brighter, their whispers turning into laughter. Ethan gasped, "I won't let you take me." He raised his hands, but the shards pressed closer, brushing against his skin like knives. Clark's expression remained unreadable. He whispered, "You can't fight what's inside you." The words struck deeper than any blade. Ethan sobbed, eyes wide with despair. Ethan forced himself upright, his arms trembling. He shouted, "Then I'll end it myself." His voice cracked. The shards froze briefly, hovering in midair, pulsing brighter as if listening. Clark narrowed his eyes. He said, "End it, or end you." His voice was sharp, heavy with accusation. Ethan's chest heaved as he whispered, "If that's the price, then so be it." His lips quivered with fear. The fragments slammed into his body, piercing his skin with cold light. Ethan screamed, collapsing back, convulsing violently as the voices roared in unison. Clark stepped forward, but his face betrayed no panic. He whispered, "It's too late." His jaw clenched. Ethan's eyes rolled back, glowing faintly as whispers poured from his mouth. The night grew thicker, the air vibrating like a living pulse. Ethan gasped, "It's inside me now." His words echoed like a curse. The pavement split open again, light pouring upward in violent bursts. Ethan convulsed, screaming as the voices surged from his chest. He cried, "Get out of me!" His body twisted with agony. Clark shouted, "You can't push it out, you have to accept it." His words carried a strange mix of command and desperation. Ethan shook violently, spitting blood, whispering, "Never." His teeth clenched hard. The shards embedded deeper, glowing brighter, wrapping his body in a cocoon of light. Ethan's breath grew ragged, his chest rattling with every gasp. His body arched unnaturally. Clark whispered, "Then it will kill you." His tone was final. Ethan's scream cut through the night, raw and inhuman, as light erupted across the street, blinding and violent. The echoes of laughter and screams collided until only silence remained, heavy and suffocating. Ethan collapsed limp, smoke rising from his skin. The light dimmed, leaving Ethan's body motionless on the pavement. Clark stepped closer, kneeling beside him. He whispered, "Is it over?" His breath trembled faintly. Ethan's eyes flickered open, faintly glowing, his lips curling into a broken whisper. "It doesn't end," he said. His voice layered with something else, something not his own. Clark froze, his expression darkening. He whispered, "Then it chose you again." Ethan's body twitched, his hands trembling as whispers spilled from his mouth in unison. The air grew colder, frost spreading across the cracked pavement. Ethan's breath fogged as he whispered, "We are awake now." His voice echoed with layered tones. Clark stepped back in horror, eyes wide, realizing Ethan was no longer fully himself. Stone's curse had not ended. It had only taken new shape. Ethan rose slowly, his body trembling but no longer broken. His faintly glowing eyes stared into the darkness beyond the street. He whispered, "This world is not yours anymore." The words chilled the air. Clark shouted, "Ethan, fight it!" His voice cracked with desperation. Ethan turned his head slowly, his expression unreadable. He whispered, "Ethan is gone." The layered voice sent shivers into the night. The street lamp above shattered, sparks raining down. Darkness swallowed the block, leaving only the faint glow of Ethan's eyes in the shadows. Clark stumbled back, heart pounding. Ethan whispered one last time, "Wake up." The words rang sharp, cutting the silence in half. The world seemed to shatter like glass, fragments of night spiraling into void. As silence returned, Clark stood alone in darkness. The faint glow of Ethan's eyes was the last thing he saw before everything went black.